let's talk about Luz Nueva. Post-release, it's finally out, it's all there. And I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so happy by all the reception I've been getting. I'd like to put it on in this video here and try to explain my thought process a little bit, kind of behind the scenes mentally, know what was happening. But before we go into anything, I just want to say first I want to credit the people in Luz Nueva, right? Like the producer, who I could not have done it, absolutely impossible without them. I want to say El Cepillo from Jerez, or Cepillo, incredible percussionist, and he did all the percussion, and Jaleo. And finally, for the big surprise, it's José Gómez as the producer, and also Palmas. It's so cool. It's like, it's incredible. He's one of my favorite guitarists, by the way. The way he composes, the way he structures things, the way he doesn't kind of overdo things. Like his pieces are always concise and straight to the point what he wants to do. And then he helped me so much for Luz Nueva. You have no idea. Like my first of all, my first draft of Luz Nueva was like 6 minutes, maybe 6 minutes and a half. And I went with him through this, and then we were discussing together. And he gave me such important advice that I will cherish forever. And I just want to say, like, seriously, I could never have done it without him. So I just want to say again, José Gómez, muchas gracias, de verdad. Like, I could not have done it without his work, without his help. I'd like to now discuss a little bit about the piece itself, Luz Nueva. I don't know, like, I was worried a little bit because it's a piece that I've been doing so many covers here of mainly Vicente Amigo. I do tutorials, and I've been shifting to Paco, if you have noticed lately, a little bit more. But I don't know, maybe my core audience, you guys maybe know me as playing a little bit more like this, poetic, musical, Vicente Amigo stuff more. And I don't know if you were expecting that, but I wanted my first track, especially my first one, Luz Nueva, no, to be different, but in a good way. I wanted to put a statement that I'm doing something of my own. I'm doing something different. That's the first thing I would like to just mention in the beginning. However, I also want to say that this is not going to be in all of my pieces. Obviously, it depends on what piece we're doing. Bulerías is very versatile. So in Bulerías, I can say I want this one to be a little bit more bright. I want this one to be a little bit more profound, a little bit more on the bass heavy, So I thought, since I want this impact in the beginning, let me do a Bulerías, and then I can be a little bit more free with it. Like, I didn't want to, if I do a Granaína, which I'm working now on a Granaína, I want to capture the Granaína sound and everything. It has its own thing more. I definitely, like, I would say it's a little bit less versatile, because in a Bulerías you can just go whatever you want, right? So that's the main reason. Second reason I also wanted to start with this Bulerías is because it's flamenco. I first, like, I had the thought of, I have a bolero that I really like. I'm working on that as well for the next couple tracks, to be one of the next couple tracks, basically, I'm saying. And I didn't want to open with something like this, although it would have been nice, the commercial way is usually to do that, like to do a rumba as your single. There's a rumba, a very, very bright open melody of a rumba or whatever, something rhythmical and, that kind of thing. I don't have the freedom yet. I don't think I have this kind of freedom yet, because I'm starting out my first CD, and I wanted to make sure that the first track will be a flamenco one. I want to show that if I'm a flamenco guitarist, that I want to make a flamenco melody, something more with an impact of this guy is playing flamenco, right? And then I can do a little bit more later. Maybe from the second CD or whatever, I can open with the rumba like they do. We'll see about that, but that's the main reason. Also, I kind of went through this Bulerías from scratch, from the beginning, to get this out first. Now I'd like to put it on a little bit, and we can hear it together, and I'll share with you a little bit my thought process on what I did and why I did, basically, what we're hearing. Now let's check out from the very introduction what happens. As you can tell from the get-go, I had this idea of, like, when you click on the song to hear it, I wanted to immediately start. Like, I didn't want the, like, this kind of tapado or maybe some percussion or something. It was also with José Gómez as well. We discussed it, and he's like, I also like the way it just starts open directly. because we did consider, I was even considering maybe you can add like a percussion or something in the beginning before it opens, but we both eventually agreed that it's nice that immediately as you click on the piece, you just get going like this. So this was the first thing that I had in mind for the introduction. That's the approach I had. You might hear a note, by the way, inside. It's a little bit tomatito for me. Like it has this. It's a little bit dissonant, but in a good way. It's flamenco. When you go, it has this G note here. So it's a little bit. I wanted to kind of. You're comfortable hearing the first few notes, but then immediately I wanted to throw you off a little bit with something, right? Something that's a little bit dissonant. This is a little bit unexpected in this way, about this section specifically. But that is the idea of this introduction, to kind of just go immediately like that, with that dissonant note specifically. Again, for the introduction, I wanted it to be also very short. I didn't want it to be like very, very long intro. Just like 30 seconds or so would be nice. And then just get going immediately and tell you what Luz Nueva is about. Because then when this melody starts here, that is Luz Nueva. That's what I wanted. Nothing more, nothing less. This melody, I talked about it in the previous video, where like I was just, trying, and then I surrendered, and then this is the melody that came up. That was the thing I was just doing with the pulgar. And just it popped up like this, and obviously it didn't just magically appear. I had to work around so many things. But that was the melody. I thought when I had it done like this, I worked on it a little bit. I thought, this is Luz Nueva, that's all. Everything I do before, everything I do after, how I develop and all, it's not as important, as I wanted this to stick the most. And that's why I just kept it as simple as possible in the introduction. It's like I'm telling you guys, this is Luz Nueva, and that's it. Then from here on, you can tell that there's like the guitar part. I'll discuss a little bit about that as well. And then until it gets back at the very end, I'll repeat this melody. I go over it again one more time. I develop more chords. I start to play it on one guitar. But this is what I wanted initially. Like this was the plan of like doing this melody and saying, this is Luz Nueva. That's it. Okay. Now, this part here, I envision something like this has a deep voice. I want you to kind of consider this is the singer in a way, right? We wanted to use the singer. I wanted to use the singer, but then José Carlos Gómez was telling me like, I think if you just keep it the way it is, it's kind of, it sounds very original to you. It's very, very cool to just keep it like this. So in my head though, that was the singer. Throughout the entire piece, you have to kind of approach it in this way, where like whenever you hear this guitar, it's like this is the singer. And also, like, as you can tell that since the voice is kind of deep, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's like an old guy being accompanied by this other, the guitarist basically in the song. And the melody itself is hopeful, but it seems a little bit dark in the beginning, like you're not knowing where you are in the beginning of the piece, this melody specifically. But it's hopeful at the same time. And I'd like to come back to that later to circle to that point back at the very, very end. But anyway, I just wanted again to say that this is the thought process of that. I wanted to start with the main theme. I wanted to open Luz Nueva. So whenever you hear or remember the name Luz Nueva, my first track or whatever, the name Luz Nueva, I wanted you to remember that melody. That's the whole thing I'm trying to say here. Let's move on to the next part. When I go... In bulerías, usually we hear a lot of... right? This kind of thing. I wanted to do that idea, but I'm on a different key. Where you're doing like this, you have the A, the root on the 5, and then you have that dissonant note up, like this. Now, since I've dropped it down by a key, so if this is A Phrygian, I'm playing G sharp Phrygian here. So it becomes that the root is on the 6th string and the dissonant one is on the bottom. So I wanted you to use that idea similar to what we do in the bulerías, like that, but on this key. Like this. Obviously, when you do that kind of thing, something else opens up, like what you do in the middle. So I started experimenting a little bit with this. How can I do something sounding similar to that idea that they do on the Phrygian por medio? And how can I do it to this key? And then I came up with this simple thing. Right, you can do this kind of ideas on that. So at the same time, it's something more, I wanted it to be bassy. It's like a response to what the singer, that old guy, let's call him the singer, is singing, right? And then you respond to him with something like this, and then you get going. From here on out, I want to be very, very specific. Falsetta 1, falsetta 2, it's just this, the guitarist kind of saying his story. He's leading the singer, or wherever, however you'd like to see it your way. But from here on out, the guitarist is leading the way, and it's just falsetta 1, short story, falsetta 2, short story, like that, and moving on like this. Now, in terms of the falsetta, I respect very much, you have no idea, I have so much respect for the melody line. It's something to me, it's a sin if you break the melody line. I really don't like people who break the melody line. You're doing something, and the flow. You have the flow and the melody line. So, like I said, since the flow is going in this direction, I sacrificed, I kind of put my ego or whatever aside, and I just wanted to keep the flow going, even if it's not the most original thing, I know. In the very beginning, when I just go like this, like I wanted this flow to keep on going. I wanted to, in flamenco, you have that idea always starting from the Phrygian chord and you move on like this. It's like a train, you know. I didn't want to stop the flow, and it felt like when I did this bassy part before, it felt like it stopped at this moment where now we have to go. This is how I envisioned the first falsetta to be. So I wanted to just immediately get going with the falsetta. I'm aware, I'll say it so many times, it's not the most original, by the way. I know. I didn't want to overcook this original thing. It's like, okay, we have the introduction, it has its own thing. We have the bass, it has its own thing. We have the main theme, it has its own thing. Now for the falsetta, I don't want, like I said, I respect the melody line. I respect the flow of the piece. I did not want to break it. I wanted to just keep going like this. So it's okay if it's not the most original, but I wanted to maintain that, start on a Phrygian, do something even if it's simple like this, and then branch out from there. And I'll get to this part. When I go like this, from here, it kind of branches out to a new melody. So I go from here, let's keep going like this a little bit. So far, again, chords you're familiar with. But then suddenly, this kind of chord, a little bit new, right? I'll explain a little bit more. The next one, right? I wanted to keep the flow. I wanted to branch out, but at some point I still wanted to include some originality in, not originality, but like something kind of surprising that you were not necessarily expecting. So for example, when I go here, and then we get back on track. But that, again, this is the idea. I wanted to give you some sounds that are a little bit unexpected. I know this is on the darker side. I'll get to that later. But again, it's all intentional specifically for that piece, for Luz Nueva. Continuing just a little bit, I wanted to, again, keep the flow going. If it ended up on this, I wanted to pick up the pace again. That's the first falsetta, kind of keeping the momentum going from the introduction that I did on the bass and everything. And then after the falsetta is finished like this, we had the momentum, we picked it up from the bassy side all the way till here. Then we do compass. For the compass, I wanted to do something that's also like flamenco, but if I can, I don't know if I overdid this, you can let me know, I don't know. In the compass, when I specifically go on this part here, these two chords, they're a little bit too dark. I don't know if I would change them if it were me now, but it kind of has this different feeling. Again, it throws you off just at that moment, but you immediately come back. Whenever I do something like this, you can notice in the piece, whenever I do something like this with something that sounds immediately like, oh, this is so different, this is so unexpected, that I immediately get back to it normal after. So when I go, here, this is nothing new, right? This chord is already, I know Vicente loves this chord, by the way, too. It's incredible. It's like a minor major at the same time, like this. But again, the whole point is like we go back on the track. I throw you off a little bit, but we go back on the track immediately after that. And again, the same thing follows. The respect I have for the melody, for the flow of the melody line, you can tell, and the flow, two of them together. In this case, it's more the flow. When things go down, like this, if I do an arrastre, it means I'm slowing down. It means the dynamic is going down. So I didn't want to just go again and start with a picado or something that destroys the flow like this. To pick up, to continue the flow of the piece, when I do the arrastre here, I wanted again to start in that same intensity without breaking the melody line as well as the flow of the piece. That's why I went. It's still down. The flow of the piece is still on the bottom, building up to the top. And this is also ties into the idea of, like, since I have these two falsettas in this one, I wanted the first one to be like this thing, the train that's moving real fast, kind of a little bit higher intensity, and to have this kind of variety building up. Doing the arrastre brought the intensity down, and then I continued with that same intensity for the second falsetta, having one kind of higher dynamic, higher intensity falsetta, and the second one be a little bit lower intensity, building up and leading to the top. That's the idea of it again. So as you can tell from here, again, the idea here being low intensity like this, and then just following it through and seeing where it goes. I always, like I said, I have so much respect for the melody line. I wanted to see where it leads. Sometimes, you're the one composing, but at the same time, I don't know, it's like connecting with something else, and it depends where you start from. There's a melody line. There's always, it's very hard to explain. I don't know if I'm doing a good job with this, but it's like the melody, it's like you and the melody line together, you're working on that. Are you agreeing with the melody line as you're composing, or are you fighting with it? Like that kind of idea I have. So I wanted to see where the melody line is going. I want to see if it's following what I'm doing exactly. If I am following where the melody line wants to go, right? And then I can, I can put the chords around it. I can do the techniques around it, the arpeggios or whatever. Let's continue just to you can see what I mean from that after. Again, we are going from here. Stopped on an A chord like this. We want to continue from where we went. So this is where it stopped. I don't want to, again, break it and immediately go somewhere else. Again, this is this is the first piece I'm doing. I'm still learning as we go as well. But this is my thought process. I'm explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I stopped on the A. I continue from the A. Okay? So that part here, I wanted to originally I had it like twice the same, but this is a big no-no in music in general. So I immediately thought to myself, why am I doing the same thing twice? So I went from A, and then I thought, how can I change the harmony while still having the same approach on the melody on the first one? So the second time is the kind of the similar, very similar melody, but kind of harmonizing it in a different way, approaching it in a different way. And that, again, it's like I said, it's in correlation with the melody line, what you're doing together. It might seem like I'm crazy, right? I don't know, but like when you're doing it like this, you are with the melody, you're working together with that melody line. Where does it want to go? The melody line and the flow both together. So because it felt like I stopped on a chord, more like a little bit more kind of adding more tension. I wanted to just pick it up from here because it felt like there's tension here, and let's attack after. So this is the next part. Again here, not too I want to say not too original in a way, in a sense. No, it doesn't have to be, but the idea is the intensity is up. I'm again following what the melody line is going. As you see, like the chords, I had several options for the chords. I thought maybe I'll use this, maybe I'll go 100% very unoriginal and simple. But then I started experimenting more. Look, let's play the chords and I'll show you here. This whole thing, for example, when I go the first one, like I wanted something that's again, it's following the melody nicely, but at the same time having just a little bit more that you'd have to listen to it is a few times just at least to get what's going on. It's not like super bland. Like from the first time you can tell all the chords. I wanted this kind of thing. This is Paco de Lucia approach. With Paco's music, by the way, the more you listen to the piece, like even until now, the more I listen over and over, I still discover details. Like it's all the way. It's insane how much detail he puts, Paco de Lucia. So I cannot do it at his level. It's insane. It's impossible. But like having those chords be slightly different would mimic kind of this approach, where like it's not okay. You can understand this one, okay, but then you go. Most people would think I'll do this one, but instead I replace the bass from here to here instead of small details like this. Always the very tiny details like this, I wanted to kind of put them in. And this is this part continuing to the leading up to the remate here, just the closing. Again, as you can tell, this is mimicking, this is the melody line that was before, and then here it's kind of a response to it, but in a remate form on the bass and all. You want to add as much tension as possible, that kind of thing. And then we have the punch at the very end. Again, so this is the remate at the very end that I do. Again, we are building up the tension and everything, and we are kind of getting excited. So I wanted to make sure it kind of explodes, something like this. And then I'll go back to the main theme. So this is just a remate basically. And then from here, who enters? The old guy. So anyway, this is like that's a simple thing, right? So the idea here again is that the singer went back in, he just creeped back in, and doing the main theme again one more time, singing it one more time, but there's something different this time. You can tell. It's the guitarist picking him up. So when you're going, when I go, so this is basically kind of like the guitarist holding the hand of the singer or that other person with in the song, and leading him to the way here. It's kind of saying, like, I got you, basically. I'll play it one more time. This is a very interesting part to me, I felt, because we talked about, again, José Carlos Gómez, you're the best. So when you go like this, you're picking up. Here is where we stopped, right? The guitarist stops, and then the singer enters again with so much excitement, as if like he already found where the guitarist is taking him all this time. And here, as you can tell, like everything is like this is where we were supposed to be, basically. The guitarist, basically the solo guitar, is playing the melody, and everything in the back, kind of showing this is where we were supposed to be, basically, until the singer enters again, just joyful in a way. Here we wanted to keep it short, so the idea of that's the idea of everything kind of here is the where the melody was leading up to that section, and then the singer enters again. Later you can tell the idea of the improvisation being that other person I'm referring to. This melody at the very end, I really wanted it to. By the way, this improvisation section at the very end was like around 35 to 40 seconds longer. So the piece was 5 minutes and a little bit more. And then we said, like, José Carlos and me, we were discussing this, and it's like, okay, it's I think you need to stop at the point where it don't overstay your welcome, basically. So okay, this is just the right time to stop. I do like this melody, which I repeated it a lot later in the original when I recorded it, like it's 5 minutes and something, and I did repeat this melody. I really like, by the way. Like this, and then I repeated it in another section as well. Anyway, this was the approach. This is Luz Nueva. This is the idea that I wanted to go with. I'll say it one more time. This is, or maybe I haven't said it, I don't know. This is Luz Nueva. This specifically, I wanted this piece to be the way it is now, like the unexpected things that you heard, and then going back on track. And it's like, dare I say, like, it's not this beautiful painting kind of approach I wanted as this first Bulerías. So moving onwards like this, I have other pieces lined up. I'm gonna keep them a surprise, is better. But I'm working on a lot. I'm aiming to finish an EP first. For now, this is the project. Like, I can just work on the EP for now, before the end of this year, hopefully, for sure. We might have a move happening very soon. Like, we might be needing to move houses and all, which is gonna be a lot. But I'll probably, hopefully, be able to finish the EP, which is like 4 songs in total. Luz Nueva and another 3 I want to finish. The compositions are basically almost done, really. I need to do a lot of things to get them, out and all. But that's the plan for now. I'm aiming for the EP of 4 pieces, and then I'll be working on the next half of it. I'm working as hard as I can. Like, there's so many things I'm doing. I'm very, very excited at the same time. Like, I'm doing it with a smile on my face, and very, very happy, like, with doing this. So I hope that you're enjoying this. My cat is happy too. I hope that you're enjoying this with me as well. Again, thank you for being a fan of mine. And I always, my plan is to release, like I've been wanting to release my songs and share with you guys my ideas and my things. It's finally happening. I'm so excited. I'm so happy about this, how it's going. And yeah, I'll catch you later. Let me know what you think. If there's anything you'd like me to I don't know, if you have any thoughts about Luz Nueva or anything like that, you can let me know. I'm in the process of making my channel now as an artist channel, so you'll be seeing Luz Nueva on my own channel very soon, hopefully. When I get approved, basically, I think they're reviewing this thing. But yeah, just let me know how you feel, and thank you for watching. Thank you for being a fan, and expect a lot more from this very soon.